All right, for my final demo, we are going to kind of roll a combination of these techniques together to get the perfect coffee swirl splash shot. So this second example has a really beautiful coffee swirl, same with this third one, but the pouring part isn't very good. The first photo has a really great jubilant pour that I want to include, and then I also have a few photos of me throwing ice cubes into the coffee at the end to get a splash effect. What I'm hoping is I can create that perfect sensational photo that is just like captured at just the right time. You know, it's very common to get a shot where you really like the pour, but you don't like the swirl, or vice versa, and feeling like you have to choose. Nah, you don't have to choose. You can totally make your own picture. Start with a tripod. It's so much easier to use a tripod for this kind of shot, especially if you're working on your own and you have to do the pouring. So I definitely recommend using a tripod, but creating these kind of breathtaking images where you push reality just a little bit, that's what's going to get people to stop in their scroll and spend time looking at the photos that you create. All right, so I'm trying to choose between image 2 and 3. I'm naturally really drawn to 2, but the wash line where the liquid hits the top is a little bit low as compared to this third image, and I'm worried that it's not going to pair well with the splash, but we are going to just see what we can get here. I'm going to start with this image, and let's go ahead and put the pour shot that I like the best on top. So I want to select this image. We're gonna go grab our lasso tool and grab the neck of the jar as well, and then just make sure I'm selecting that whole top image. I'm going to layer via copy, V for the move tool, grab it and throw it into the image that I like better the swirl of. We're gonna just place that right on top, and because I used a tripod, it matches up perfectly. I love that. The background has a little bit of a seam, but we can fix that. So here is our before and after. You could stop here and call it a day, honestly. Like having that really strong fluid pour with the milk and having the beautiful swirl. I mean, this is great, but we can take it a little bit further, and I'm excited to show you how. So first off, I'm just going to touch up that little spot. So let's grab our mask. We are going to hit B for the brush tool, change the size a little bit, and I'm just going to mask out that line a little bit just so that it's a really smooth transition. All right, let's take a look at what we can do with our splashes. So for my sample photos, I have this big splash that has a lot of scattered speckles, and then I also have this splash which has more of kind of a vertical. I think that the pour is going to interrupt that, but we might end up using some of these like splatter pieces for the background. But let's start with this guy. So I want to actually just grab the whole layer. So let's make this a regular layer. V for move tool, we're gonna grab this and put it right on top of our working composite. That's this one. My camera shifted a little bit while I was editing, so it's off just a teeny bit. I tried to get it as close as possible, but yeah, that's gonna be great. It can see the layers and the pixels, and it locked that up nicely, which is awesome. So I'm gonna turn the opacity back up on this layer, and now I want to turn it into a clipping mask, and I am going to mask my hand into the shot and mask the speckles in as well. I'm actually going to turn this whole layer mask black. So I'm gonna hit G, and I'm just gonna mask out the whole image to start, and then mask in only the parts that I want. So B for brush tool, X to switch back to white, and we are going to dive right in. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. This is my first attempt at this, but I'm hopeful that we can get some splash happening. Because the splash rolled up the edge of the glass, and because the coffee is mixed at this point, we may have to kind of mask into some of our beautiful swirl just so that it looks realistic. All right, we'll just kind of get what we've got in here, and then we'll mask that milk splash back in. This is so fun. This is like a paint by numbers where you just like do the work that someone else already did. Okay, X to switch back to my black, and then we're just gonna paint that milk stream back in. I changed my brush size to be nice and fine so that I can work on a very fine level. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna hit X and mask this part in back in. And then I know this layer has a whole bunch of speckles up here, so I'm just gonna change my brush size to be quite large and then mask in some of these fun splatters. Okay, this is looking so fun. All right, but I do have some inconsistencies with my background. My background layer on one of them is a little bluer than the other, which is casting kind of a browner tone. So I'm just gonna finish this out and just get it to look as realistic as possible, basically. I'm even gonna kind of come in so that it looks like my coffee is mixing a little more. Just so it's more believable. So we do still have these beautiful swirls, but it's like this top half of it is getting significantly more mixed. I'm just gonna play around with this layer back here and see if there's any more of the splashing. Nah, I didn't really miss anything. I think I'm happy with that. I do want to kind of blend that in just a little bit better. And then I have this really distracting line up here where my camera wasn't perfect, and I actually do want to keep that full shot. I might crop it out later, but I don't want to crop too much of my hand. And so I'm going to shrink my brush size and then hit X to go back. And I'm just going to kind of blend out anything that's too close to the edge here. At this point, I also want to just go over the whole image in general and make sure that there isn't any speckles that are way too distracting. Like this one's a little bit distracting. Oh, but if I mark it out, then you can see the background doesn't match. So he stays. Okay, so I think this image turned out really fun. It's believable because the milk is pouring and it splashes. Maybe it pushes reality a little too much, but this is where we started. We changed the milk bottle and then we changed the splashing. It did kind of eat into some of our swirls, and you could probably play with bringing some of those back in here, but then you're fighting with the milk color versus the cream color. So it's this fun balancing act. But anyway, I really like how this came out. I had a couple alternate images where I was pouring ice back in the shot. So here in Lightroom, where I organize my files, I have this image with the ice falling in, and I thought it might be kind of fun to do one where I have like ice cubes everywhere and it's making a big splash. I have a bunch of alternate shots where there are different specklings and drips and spots in the shot, lots of messiness on the table. So you really can use this technique to craft the perfect image and just push that little bit of reality. And I think may as well, right? It's more fun this way. So hopefully this was fun to watch and that you can find a way to use this style of crafting a photo, this composite in your work as well. Thanks so much for watching.